Have you ever just looked at a new game and immediately thought, yeah, I need this right now? That was me 5 years ago after watching the reveal of Tunic, an isometric action-adventure game inspired by classic 90s Zelda games. Created by Andrew Shouldice and his small team, Tunic is an indie gem that successfully blends stellar exploration, difficult combat, and gorgeous visuals to make a game that goes beyond its inspirations, forging a path towards its own identity. Exploration is at the heart of what makes Tunic so special, as the sense of discovery plays a major role. From the start, Tunic isn't willing to hold your hand, especially since almost everything is written in a unique language specifically made for the game. This is how Tunic hooks you in, because it makes the world feel shrouded with mystery that begs to be solved. And secrets are abundant in this game. The world is vast, and chock full of hidden passageways, sealed off doors, and mysterious structures at every turn. The game's isometric perspective makes it easy for hidden treasures and secret rooms to blend into the environment, only to be found by those with a keen eye. Overall, Tunic makes you feel like an outsider in this land, and it's up to you to brave its dangers and uncover its mysteries. Luckily, you're not completely in the dark on your journey. There's one item that serves as your guide for making sense of this world. Scattered throughout the corners of this land, you'll find pieces of the game's manual. The manual takes on the style of old instruction booklets from the 90s. Complete with maps, game explanations, and tips, it's meant to bring players back to a time where you couldn't just Google your way out of a problem. Now, of course, you could still look up the manual online, but that would spoil the surprise of uncovering new game mechanics and secrets for yourself. Tunic's manual is the perfect way to balance the mystery of the game, as pages are usually discovered right when you need them, providing just enough clarity to aid you in this cryptic world. The manual doesn't just teach the basics, however. Chances are, if there's any puzzle that can be solved, the manual will have hints to help you move forward. The only catch is that the majority of its pages are covered in Tunic's language, encouraging the player to pay attention to its visuals and the sparse bits of English spread throughout. It's a clever way to drip feed new information while leaving enough mystery to keep the player curious. Overall, in the many hours I spent with this game, I never grew tired of traversing the world, because Tunic does an incredible job at filling every inch of the map with new enemies, locations, puzzles, and treasures to always keep you questioning what's around the corner. Tunic's world and game design are heavily inspired by old top-down classics like Link to the Past, so you'd think the combat would also end up feeling similar, right? Yeah, not at all. Dodge rolling, parries, stamina and magic meters, healing shrines, healing flasks, retrieving your soul after you die, they're all taken from that one game series every reviewer compares difficult games to. Kirby. Okay, but seriously, this game's not easy. In Tunic, enemies have their own unique attack patterns. Crocodiles strike quickly, gnashing their sharp teeth, turrets relentlessly spit out laser beams, and spirited warriors are capable of taking you out in a single hit. Figuring out the right equipment and strategic approach is the key to gaining an advantage in combat, because even a swarm of weak enemies can turn the tide if you're not careful. Unlike the SNES games, you can't just mash the attack button and expect to see results. With a stamina meter to worry about, it's important to learn how to find a balance between offense and defense, knowing when to strike and when to hold back. You could try and dodge roll every attack, but chances are you won't have the energy to fight back once he's vulnerable. Using up all your stamina lowers your defense, making every enemy attack hurt more until your gauge is full again. Now fortunately, there are items like bombs, health drinks, and status buffs that can aid in battle, but because their names are written in Tunic's language, you'll have to experiment with each one to figure out what they do. As you progress, Tunic eventually reveals its leveling system, where you can boost your base stats, and I'd highly recommend you upgrade whenever possible, as enemies quickly rise in strength the farther you progress in the game. Tunic does have a handful of bosses which test your skill of the game mechanics, from an ancient guardian to a librarian with powerful sorceries, and an absolute banger piano solo. I'd say on the difficulty scale, the bosses aren't as tough as other Souls-likes, but it's enough to leave you with a feeling of satisfaction after taking down that one boss who whooped you 20 times. In stark contrast to Tunic's difficulty, the bright and vibrant visuals feel warm and inviting. It feels like an understatement to say this game looks good. In an interview with GameRant, Shouldice explained how his team has worked hard enough to strike a balance between abstract, yet detailed enough to fit the look of the game. and that work seems to have paid off beautifully. The world feels old and decrepit, with worn-out structures like bridges and statues that have been degraded due to the passing of time, while straight lines and sharp edges give off a linear and geometric style that may look similar to environments such as in Monument Valley. Where this game shines, however, is in its incredible use of light. You start the game in the hub world, where the sun's rays cast hard shadows across the land's ruins and vegetation. Heading indoors, light floods through the entryways of abandoned homes and caves, bouncing off the walls and floors. At the East Forest, a dappling effect creates small pockets of light that move and scatter across the surface, and torches emit strong orange hues that fill spaces with warmth. Overall, it looks top-notch. It makes the world pop out more than any other top-down adventure game I've played. Tunic has been in development since 2015. It was developed, designed, programmed, and written solely by one guy, with assistance for the game's art and music. Tunic truly feels like a love letter to the 90s. The exploration calls back to a time when there was no internet, and secrets and rumors were shared with your buddies at school. Combine that with Souls-like combat and a beautifully abstract world, and I believe Tunic confidently bridges the gap between retro and modern games, offering an experience that will stay on my mind for years to come. If you have the slightest interest in picking this game up, it's available to play on Xbox Game Pass. Otherwise, you can purchase Tunic for around $30 on Steam. It's incredible that with today's software and enough passion, anyone is capable of creating games with this level of quality. Someday I hope that someone who plays Tunic feels inspired to create a game of this caliber, continuing to drive the indie scene forward. Thanks for watching.